Brown to be our clerk for this meeting, and I wonder if there's a second.
I second.
Second.
So moved. So Susan Brown will be our clerk for the 54th annual meeting. Next on the agenda, I would like to call for the approval of the minutes for the 2020 annual meeting of St. Michael and All Angels. Is there a motion?
Oh, okay.
So
Second.
I assume there was a first and second. So moved. So we accept the minutes of last year's annual meeting. And so now we're going to the annual reports.
I want to stop for a moment just to make
Okay.
sure, Susan Brown, are you able to capture this or are we going too fast for notes?
Well, I can capture that you nominated and approved. I have no idea who nominated the approval of the meeting minutes and who seconded it.
Well, why don't we go back? Who
You don't
who
have
made the
to
first
know,
motion for the
say it was
minutes?
done.
That's
I think Norris did too.
I moved.
Just say that it was done. You don't have to have the names.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so are we ready to go to annual reports? Okay, so those are in the report and everyone should have a copy of that. That was sent out by email last week, I believe.
Just yesterday, but it is available in
Okay.
there was a messenger that went out yesterday and it's posted to the website. So there are a couple ways to get a hold of it.
And also, if someone would like a hard copy, we could mail them that through the mail too,
Absolutely.
if they would prefer that. So again, we want to make sure everybody has the information that is in the reports. So now I'm going to go to item 5 in our agenda and turn over the program to Jan Fowler, who will do the presentation of the budget for 2021 and the Finance Committee.
I'll start and then certainly welcome comments from others on the Finance Committee. Let me start with a very brief look back to 2020, then we'll give a high-level overview
I can't figure out how to get it to
2021,
close.
and then we can sort of move forward from there. Just quickly on 2020, we started the year of 2020 with a balanced budget, and we actually ended the year with a balanced budget. There were a lot of moving parts in between, but in summary, there was lower income as a function of fewer parish center donations. There were also lower expenses as a function of a number of the committees and expenses associated with worship and office expenses were lower. And so that led us to be, to realize a balanced budget. The other very important point for 2020, we did qualify for and receive a PPP loan, and we anticipate that that will be forgiven this year. We're in the process of working through that. And so certainly the PPP funds helped our cash position a lot in 2020. Looking to 2021, what you see in front of you is a budget that was approved by the vestry. That budget is a balanced budget for 2021. The 2 or 3 differences that I would highlight relative to 2020, there is a reduction somewhat in pledge income. There's actually an increase in parish center donations as a function of more use of parish center. Payroll is also notably lower as a function of the new interim rector. And so what that leads to in combination is the inclusion of a line item that is the contribution to reserves. That contribution to reserves is what brings us to a balanced budget. That contribution to reserves allows us to begin to set aside effectively preparing for an increase in payroll once we have a new permanent rector in place, and also allows us to prepare for the potential of lower parish center donations in the future. So essentially we're building a cushion for what we know will be increased expenses in budgets beyond 2021. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to thank everyone on Finance Committee for all of their help as we've worked through managing the finances through 2020 and also putting together the numbers for 2021. All the help is very much appreciated. It's very much a team effort. And I invite anyone else on Finance Committee to correct anything that I've said or otherwise share additional observations and thoughts.
Do we
Thank
have
you,
it?
Jan, this is
Do we have an
wonderful.
idea how long the Coptics are
Very
going to
good.
stay?
We anticipate that the Coptics will be with us for at least another year. So they are in the, or at least through this year, unless there's newer information from recent conversations. They still have a lot of work that they need to do on the property that they got. And so they will continue with us through 2021, at which point, you know, it becomes less certain.
Thank you.
I have one thing to call out, which is we have, as the transition committee begins their work, Michael implemented a number of new technology tools for the parish, both for the office and as well as our website and other things. So the vestry did vote to add a part-time position for someone who could help manage digital content. And we will begin discussions about that and hope to be able to fill that position with someone who can help with the volunteers who have coordinated all the activity on Facebook and the website and with the messenger and all that good stuff.
Jan. Yeah.
Is there any other discussion regarding the budget or any questions for the Finance Committee?
I have a question. This is Lynn. The mission share fund for the diocese is 40,000. What percent is that?
Thank you for calling that out. That is one of our, I consider it a success this year. We were able to increase and raise our donations to the mission share fund back up. I'm not sure what the actual percent is. Jan or Jim, are we back up to 12%?
That was assuming,
12%.
that was assuming what the standard mission share contribution would be. So if 12% is standard, then that would be 12%. I don't remember off the top of my head what the standard number is, but
It's 12%. Yeah.
Oh, I think, yeah.
So we had rolled it back for a number of years with, you know, in discussion with the diocese, with a commitment that we would make every effort to get it back up. And this year we are able to do that. So that is a blessing.
That's great.
Any other questions for
Did
the
you want to say
Finance
something
Committee?
about Harbor Day School?
How much money will we lose when the Coptics leave?
It would bring our parish center donations down by, this is a round number, that there's even some, there is a change in what they've been contributing recently, but very roughly, I would say, you know, between 20 and 30,000 a year.
Thank you.
This is Mark. What can you tell us about the relationship with the Harbor Day School? How's that going, and do we have a time frame?
It is apparently going quite well from a, you know, from an effort to manage, you know, cleanup and all that sort of thing. It's very smooth. My understanding is that it's expected to be 2 years. Certainly that is the driver of the increase in parish center donations. And so what we need to be aware of, that has a much larger impact in terms of what's in the parish center donation number than the Coptic contribution. And so in 2 years, we need to be ready for a material change in the parish center donation number and be thinking about what other users might be able to replace Harbor Day. So Harbor Day has been very important for us.
And just to give people a sense of what that scale is, I think is it like 3,000 a week?
Yes.
It is 3,000 a week in steady state. I think it's 1,500 a week, say over the summer or around, you know, a Christmas holiday or a Thanksgiving holiday. It's in excess of $100,000 a year.
Yeah, such a big, big number.
Yes.
A question concerning our
Harbor Day and the Coptics and anybody else, are we setting aside monies for restoration or refurbishing when they leave? I'm sure we're maintaining and doing that's all happening, but when someone leaves, there's always unexpected.
We are not explicitly reserving in a, facilities type of sense. The contribution to reserves number is recognizing that there is the potential for, a material drop in donations, a material increase in payroll. Certainly the contribution to reserves could also be used for that kind of refurbishment purpose. There is also an account on the existing balance sheet that allows for, let's call it, capital improvements.
And we factored the potential for refurbishment into what we negotiated as folks' parish center donations.
But is that being set aside or are we spending it?
We are setting it aside as the contribution to reserve.
Exactly. It is part of the contribution reserve.
Any other comments or questions for the Finance Committee?
I think you're brilliant.
I think this is.
I agree.
Yeah, this is a beautiful, it's just laid out beautifully, and I'm finally catching up to where I wanted to find. Buildings and grounds, we are getting older, building wise and walk wise and everything. So when I walked around yesterday, I didn't keep notes, but there's some places that are pretty shabby that can be
shabby.
On the south wing, there's something happening with the concrete in the south wing patio that
Cracked.
doesn't look good, and it could become dangerous. So that would come under, I guess, grounds and landscape, maybe. I hate to see that go up, but I'll tell you, the garden is beautiful now. Everything is up, and I hope the community is taking advantage of this beautiful park. But thank you, Jan, for all that, putting this out so someone like me can read it.
Thanks to everybody on Finance Committee and otherwise. It's very much a team effort, and we are very blessed to be in the circumstance that we are.
Well done.
Yeah.
And kudos to everyone. I know how much work goes on putting these numbers together, and it's all through the year, and also the worry and anxiety that comes along with this. And so congratulations on being such good stewards. It's really a testament to this community. So thank you for your service. If there are no other questions concerning finance, let's move to old business. And I believe Louise has something to say about the North Wing Chapel renovation.
Yes, I want to acknowledge Lynn and Judy and Kathy and everyone, Jim, everyone who took part in the North Wing Chapel renovation. It was a lot of work. You guys had the vision going into it, spent a lot of time. And a year ago, we did not have this space, and now we do. We have taken full advantage of it. And kudos and many thank yous for all of your hard work. I am not alone in expressing gratitude, I know.
And it's, having been in it, I think 3 times now, 3 Sundays, it's a beautiful space to worship. And my understanding is not been consecrated yet. So maybe that's something the bishop can do. He's coming in September. So that's something to talk about and anticipate of. Maybe that could be part of, I don't know if he's coming in person or not, but hopefully we will have in-person visits by then. But that's something to talk about, what you all would like to do. All right, let's go on to the furnace. And I guess this is Mike Kuiper and Jim Palda have some comments about the furnace.
Was Jim able to hop back on, or is
I'm
he
on.
mute? Okay.
I'm on, yeah. So as many of you know, we were very concerned that we were going to have to replace the furnace, and after a number of different third-party repair people that came in and looked, we finally found someone that realized it really was the thermostat that was the problem. And so graciously, they fixed the thermostat, and we didn't have to pay anything to have that done. So we dodged a bullet here. So we're in good shape with the furnace.
Good. Oh, wow.
Yeah, a year ago we started with concerns about a $50,000 capital expense on a new furnace, and with a lot of legwork and getting folks in, it resolved itself, which is how amazing is that?
Wonderful. This is Mark. One of our parishioners had called me a year ago and offered a substantial part of that to pay himself. And it was really wonderful when Louise and Jim told me that we didn't need it. And I got to write him an email saying, you get to keep that money.
Okay, any other comments on the chapel or the furnace for old business or any other business we've omitted? If not, let's move on to new business. And I believe, Jim, you're going to address the issue of reopening the building during COVID-19.
Yes.
Reopening plan.
So as many of you are probably aware, we are now permitted by the state and the Supreme Court to have a reopening of the sanctuary. So it will probably be very similar to what we did in the past, which is 25% capacity, 6 feet apart, masks, and so on. So we'll be discussing this at the vestry meeting this week as far as when we will actually start the reopening, whether it be this coming Sunday or later. We haven't really decided that yet, but stay tuned. And it looks like we're going to start worshiping again in the sanctuary.
Good, great.
Okay,
Mark.
any questions on?
Or can I just make a
on the
little
reopening?
Easter, by Easter, maybe, by Easter?
We don't know yet, but we're going to
Okay,
map that
fine.
out. Mark?
From a lawyer's perspective, the court didn't say that we have to do it. The court said that the government can't tell you that you can't have anybody in there. At the same time, they're letting people go into stores and other stuff. So I would just say it really is still up to the vestry to decide how much in-person worshiping we're going to do. We're not compelled.
Right.
Totally
Right.
hear you.
And the governor, I guess, is going to reissue guidelines for indoor worship.
And I also defer to the diocese and the bishop. Correct. And what directions they're giving, such as they said, I believe 2 weeks ago, no physical, and discuss at the vestry meeting. Okay, any other questions or comments regarding reopening plans? And she will be communicating so people are in the loop and knowing what to anticipate. And I think that's really important. So there's no guesswork. And so we will make a concerted effort to communicate. I'm sorry.
Will you have 1 or 2 services?
We haven't decided yet.
Nothing has been decided, right?
We still have Zoom for the people who don't feel comfortable.
Yes, we expect to still have Zoom.
When Sunday morning resumes, will Tuesday morning as well?
I don't think any of those things have been decided. But again, we welcome people's input. And you can contact me or the wardens and share your ideas and concerns on this. Everybody needs to have a voice. And the more we understand where people are with this, the better off we are.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more discussion on this, why don't we go to the transition committee? And Louise?
Yes. So again, new business. When we met last year, we had no idea that we would be needing a transition committee. One came together in the fall. And I again want to extend my fervent gratitude to Lynn and the posse of people who are going to be working on our behalf towards our transition. Lynn, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have anything to add, by all means, don't hesitate.
Hi, yes, well, yes, thank you to everyone. I'm really pleased. We've had our group formed. We've had a couple of Zoom meetings, you know, where we've talked things over a little bit. And we've we also had a nice Zoom meeting with the man from the diocese. And he was very helpful in showing us how some of these things are going to work or could work. They don't tell us how to do it, but there's things that work. And, you know, unless we, of course, don't want to do it that way, that's probably the way we'll do it. But, you know, they've tried these things before and they've worked. So there is a system in place. And we just recently divided out into subcommittees. So that's really good, because I asked people which things they were interested in doing, and everybody spoke up and said something they wanted, and it worked out perfectly. I can't believe it. So pretty much everybody's in a subcommittee going to be working on something that they want to work on, the survey, you know, different things. So I really appreciate that, and we're going to start working on much of that work, you know, I would say in the next few weeks.
Thank you. Next up, anticipated new business for 2021. In light of the transition and in light of just our, you know, life happens and things evolve, we are going to undertake a review of our current parish bylaws. I think it's been quite a while since they've had an eye on them. So at Reverend Susan's recommendation, we're going to look those over and have the vestry evaluate if they serve us well in the world we live in today.
I will also share that I'm going to be looking at a personnel manual, and a large focus of my time is administratively getting things teed up, making sure the personnel files are complete and up to date, annual reviews done with staff members. And so hopefully this will get things in shipshape for when you're ready to call your new rector, and things that they won't have to worry about. And so it's going to be a team effort, and hopefully enjoyable, that we get to learn more and appreciate all the gifts and talents of this community. I'm also going to spend time working with Jim and members of the church on reentry into the building. I know that's so important, and that we go about it in a very thoughtful way, and be assured we will communicate all of that. And then I guess that's it. That's going to be my focus. And again, any questions, concerns you have, you can always reach me on the Zoom office hours, or just by picking up the telephone and giving me a call on that.
I can email you a copy of the current diocesan bylaws template.
Oh, that'd be great. Would love to see that. Again, any input, you all have history here, please reach out, and I would love to sit and chat with you. It's the more I know, the better off I am, and hopefully we can make good decisions together. I guess from here we go to communication. Louise, you want to talk about the phone tree?
Sure, I want to talk about both the phone tree and our comms group, who, if anything, as a result of COVID, it really brought home how important it is that we have multiple ways to keep in touch when we're not face-to-face on Sunday. Ruth Poole and her dedicated phone tree committee have really taken up a huge effort in making sure that there is voice-to-voice communication with everyone every month.
Okay, turn off Zoom. Oh.
Hi, Bill.
What?
And likewise, Norris and Clyde and Brooke and what has become a communication team that get together every Wednesday to make sure that the bulletin is pulled together and distributed, the weekly messenger is pulled together and distributed. The dedication of both of these teams has just been invaluable in 2020. and I expect will continue through 2021. So thank you all for that.
Can I ask a question about the list that I have, the people that I call is so out of date, and I don't know if there's been a lot, and I'm not looking at the other sheet to know, but I think that a concerted effort should be made to have the lists up to date.
I hear you. One of the tools that we have in place but have not necessarily rolled out very well is a database that has everyone's contact information. It is online. We have a way to capture phone and email and indicate your preference. So one of our upcoming discussions is how to make that information available to you all so that you can kind of self-service and make sure that the church has your accurate phone number logged and your current email logged, so that, for example, Julie and other folks on the phone tree can easily access the most accurate and up-to-date information for the calls they place.
Great.
Louise, how can you get, like, I would like to be one of the people that can call people, but do you need some other people or?
Joni, that's wonderful. I suspect you have been heard, and I will make sure the people that need to know.
Okay.
Absolutely. Anybody else, please shout out.
This is Jim Headley. Does this include the communication reaching out to the public in general? Or are we
No,
just communicating within the parish itself?
Well, it's a slight hybrid. These two teams are primarily focused on communications that are internal to the parish, except that Norris administers our public Facebook page. So there's some public facing communication related to that. But as for a structured public facing communication plan, that is something that we need to pull together.
I believe there was something in place. I don't know where that is now, but I think previously there was.
I don't think that can be.
Abby, stop it.
Sorry, dogs are having a lollapalooza here.
I saw them pushing you off the couch during service.
They're excited about the annual meeting.
Yeah. Welcome to the annual meeting.
He's excited about the kitten bowl at 2:00.
Any or more comments for Louise on the phone tree or the comms team? I know the conversations I've had with the wardens and staff, we're going to be talking a lot about communication. So it's so important again.
I understand this comms team does the technical work for getting us Zoom.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
When you want to leave the video, tap leave in the top left corner.
Brooke?
Hang on, give me 1 second. And I would also appreciate a chance to, was it Corinne who asked that question about what the comms team kind of looks like?
Yeah, I guess when
So
it's
I will
still
ask
on,
both those things.
you can hit leave in the upper left corner.
Okay, hold on, I got you. All right. In answer to that question, I would say that the church is a community, and I experienced that never more profoundly almost than in those communications team meetings. And there is a lot going on Zoom, on the Zoom front, but we each have our kind of little area, and we all need to work together so that we're consistent and cohesive and supporting each other. So that's a great space where if I have concerns, then that comes out into the pool and we communicate together. And that's true for every member of that committee. So yes, it's Zoom and it's been invaluable, but it's also, as Louise was saying, the messenger and the public facing Facebook page and the bulletin, which is critical. It doesn't make any difference how cool the Zoom meeting is if you don't know what you're going to say on Sunday. So Clyde's work is invaluable. And so that's kind of what the communications team is.
Okay, what about, communicating out into the greater world? I think that was sort of what Jim Headley was talking about, getting our word out, bringing people to us, how we commit to the world around us. What are we doing? Let's show what we're doing to help the poor and the homeless and the widows and orphans, etc.
Corinne, one of the things we did talk about in the vestry meeting last time was the possibility of having a social responsibility person, whether it's paid or not paid, or a new position on the vestry. In my company, I'm involved in dealing with Gen Zs and millennials. Their big thing is giving back. And startup companies and small organizations, a lot of their success is depend on how they do that. And I don't think we really do that. And I think we have, and I have discussed it with a lot of people, and I think we have to have somebody assigned as a social responsibility person, choose some kind of cause, and there are plenty of them out there that we could hang our hat on. And I think by doing that, we can draw more people into the parish and bring more people closer to Jesus Christ. But I think it's really critical that we start thinking about that and doing something like that. I think it's very, very important.
We really do need to do that. Yes.
I'd like to thank Mary Bailey for the wonderful job she did with the family at Christmas time.
She did.
She was doing a great job.
Yeah. All that is good.
I think that position's a little bit different than mission. I think they're kind of separate, but that's something the vestry will have to decide if in fact they want to do that.
Any more comments or questions? Or Louise or anyone else?
I can't see all of this, Louise.
I'm not in a place where I can help you.
Okay, sorry. View options.
Okay, if there are no more questions or comments about new business, it's time to go for nominations for our vestry members and delegates to the diocesan convention.
Susan, did you want to
yeah,
give Susan and Ray a chance
I'm
to?
sorry. I apologize. I'm looking at an older agenda. So it's important to the short time I've been here. I've really enjoyed working with Susan and with Ray, two very important people on staff who good work. If we didn't have it Sunday morning would be very different. So I would like to let Susan say a few things and let Ray say a few things about this past year. Susan?
Okay. Well, it's so good to see everyone. And I hope you get a chance to read your annual report. And with Christian education, there's 6 pages worth. And I know when COVID came down in March and there was, of course, it was a time of uncertainty and a challenge. But, as we went to Zoom and our aspect of our adult Christian education and our Sunday school, we went on Zoom, and we continue to do that right now. But we did open up with outdoor Sunday school and vacation Bible school, and you can read more about that. And during the hour when you all are in worship, I'm here Zooming with the kids, and please reach out to your neighbors, your friends, or just share the link. And here's Sunday school from 10 to 10:30 are the young ones, and then our youth is from 10:30 to 11. So that's one way you can really reach out and just say there's a time where they can come to Sunday school on Zoom. And the hope is once we reopen, we go out to the outdoor. And Ann Conover with the Godly Play was in the Peace Garden. And I was working with just with the green room on the east side patio, and we had a great time going on with outdoor. And then when we can go back into our classrooms safely, of course, we look forward to that. Until that time, we're going to be continuing to send things in the mail, and we look forward to those. As Reverend Susan Pinkerton and I have been talking about Lent to go. It's like how to have Lent go into the homes and just keep us mindful of our liturgical calendar year. And then also coming up, Lenten soup suppers is going to be a great time for the parish to kind of reconnect here. It'll be on Zoom. It'll be 1 hour long, and it's going to be an exciting model. Jim Headley, are you on there? Is Jim there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, can you speak to about your ideas about the soup and the recipes?
Soup and
That's Jim Palda.
Oh, Jim Palda?
Not Jim Headley, Jim
Jim
Palda.
Palda.
Jim Palda. Okay, well.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. Please, yeah, if you just want to
Yeah.
share the enthusiasm, because it's a really cool thing we're going to be doing.
Yeah, so the idea is that, traditionally we have a soup and salad for the Lenten series. And I thought it'd be a good idea that each committee that's sponsoring for that week would publish recipes that they have so that we could all perhaps make one of them ourselves for that supper. And then we're going to keep them all, and then I'm going to put them together into a Lenten, St. Michael and All Angels Lenten soup supper in the time of COVID cookbook. So we'll all have that to share later on.
Oh, that's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So look for the communications coming up with that and our time for Lenten suppers. And it's just right around the corner. So it's going to be a great time. And I just hope we can see the whole gallery light up with all your faces, and we can share during Lenten suppers this time, because we're so close to, it's going to be a good launch. So thank you.
Hi, may I speak?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Don, and I want to take a moment to compliment Susan Caldwell. From a personal basis, my grandchildren attend the Sunday school, and all the efforts that you and your team portray are just remarkable, Susan, especially in this difficult time. I want to thank you personally.
Oh, thank you, Dawn. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the Palazzola's we're usually, got the puppets. Lots of fun. We got the music ready.
They love you. They love you.
It's a lot of fun.
And
And
got Godly Play.
yeah, Anne's been amazing with Godly Play at the beginning of COVID. She recorded online all the stories, and then with Outdoor Sunday School, she and her team with Elizabeth and Crispy Kuiper and Margie, they were all doing, and Ann Warmington, all out there doing Godly Play on the Peace Garden. So we're ready to roll again. We're all continuing to stay steadfast and immovable, but continue to just keep us in prayer and just be watching, because we're anxious just as much as you are just to get back to church, and we're doing the best we can. So invite your friends and to keep going.
As I said, that even though the building is essentially closed, church is open and church is happening. And Susan has done a tremendous job just the short time I've been here watching her and the engaging conversations we've had. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And kudos to Susan.
Yeah.
And also kudos to Ray. Ray, do you have anything you'd like to share about this past year?
A little bit. To state the obvious, it's been a rather strange year for everyone, including the choir and myself. I think the last time we were going to sing last spring was almost a year ago. It was March 8th. And plus a couple of Sundays or whatever we did last fall before we got re-shut down. We have been doing Zoom choir, just checking in on each other, not rehearsing on Thursday nights, which is our usual rehearsal time. And attendance has been pretty good most of the time. I want to give kudos to Clyde. He's been doing all the taping. If you see me there, Clyde's right behind me on Sunday mornings. We last taped, what you're watching these days is taped just after Christmas, actually. And we'll be doing some more of that, of course, for Lent and Easter. And so big kudos to Clyde for that. We're also going to bring in some singing, some more. You've seen that. You saw some last Sunday with Rusty, our soprano section leader, doing that. And we have to be careful because of the COVID and the singing restrictions, of course. I hear comments about my music notes. I'm glad you all enjoy those. I do, or some of you enjoy them anyway. I do spend a bit of time on them. I guess, like Susan Caldwell, I'm basically a teacher as well as a performer. The choir, I think I can speak for the choir. They're really chomping at the bit to get back together. It's been, my God, a whole year, practically. As you know, I had surgery last October on my left knee. My right knee is coming up probably in March. It's going to be an interesting year in retrospect to 2 years. So
I like having Ray. I like having like Austin, not Austin. Pardon me.
Vincent, I think. Did you mean Vincent?
Section leaders. Let the section leaders have do the music for us. Once, like Rusty did last week, and the young man.
Vincent. Yes, our tenor. Yes, we'll be doing more of that. Also, Mary Bailey brought up. Look on Vimeo on the website. We're going to try to pull out some of those and play some of the choir singers from previous years, previous Sundays, or whatever. So, yeah, we're working on that as well.
So as you all can see, you have a very busy staff that's working behind the scenes.
Yep.
So
can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to interject here. There was the question about the communications on Wednesday, and there's there's communications, and then we have staff meeting, then communications at 1, and then we have this thing called I call it the tech team, and the tech team with Kim Montgomery, Brooke Pauley, Sebastian Fowler, and Norris, and and Louise has been on this team trying to do the technology. And Louise, did you talk about that already? I might have missed it, the first part of how this team is trying to keep doing such a fabulous job trying to do with the audio and all the technology that we're facing. It was a swift learning curve. Let's just put it that way. So thank you to that tech team for standing in a difficult season.
It was a new learning curve and remains an ongoing learning curve as we figure out how to provide you all with the best worship experience given the COVID constraints.
Thank you.
So it's there might be changes, and being Episcopalian, forewarned is forearmed. because we want to make it better. So
well, if there are no other comments, should we go on to introduce or state our nominations for vestry members and delegates to the
when is the diocesan convention?
In November, actually, at First Advent, right?
No, it's now in the middle of November.
Okay.
Okay.
It's before Thanksgiving now.
Good.
Good. Yeah, really good.
Get it away from Christmas.
Beth Bianchi.
Yes, I nominate Gail Haiju to fellowship.
I second.
So Gail will be taking over from Beth for a 3-year term as the fellowship commissioner. Thank you, Gail, for agreeing to this important ministry.
I look forward to serving with the vestry.
Thank you. Yeah.
Michael Kuiper is rotating off as Buildings and Grounds Commissioner. Right now, his position remains open. If anyone has special room in their heart for Buildings and Grounds, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Susan Pinkerton. We had a recent vacancy in communications. Michael Robertson has departed that role, and Clyde Dodge has gratefully agreed to complete his term. So Clyde will be joining the vestry as Communications Commissioner for a 1-year term.
Great.
That's terrific.
Evangelism, this is a bit of a preview. Mark, I saw on earlier, but now I can't see folks. So, but Mark and Joanna are going to become snowbirds and be spending at least half of the year in Canada. So as a result, Mark will be stepping down from his evangelism commissioner position starting in April. So that's an opening that's coming up. Likewise, we had a recent vacancy for the ombudsperson. Jim Headley did a fabulous job in that role, but life happens and he has resigned. And Steve Morris has agreed to complete Jim's rotation and so we'll be joining the vestry for a 1-year term as ombudsperson. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Richard, would you like to cover the slate of delegates to convention?
Yes, I would like to nominate Brooke Polly to be one of the delegates to convention. I think it's crucially important for the future of the church that we get young people involved in the governance of the diocese, because that provides them the ability to, if they choose and they're interested, of going forward and for example, seeking to represent the diocese at General Convention and other church offices. And so given the wonderful job she's done this past year on the tech team, I think she would be a great candidate.
And in addition to Brooke, Steve Dulson, Sue Ahern, and Beth Bianchi have all agreed to continue as our delegates to diocesan convention.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that is the slate for this year. Do we have a motion to elect this slate of nominees?
I
So
move
moved.
elect or slate.
Second.
I second.
Great. Now what happens?
I move that the slate be approved by acclamation.
Acclamation.
Plain.
Second motion.
Second.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay, Susan is back on. I got kicked off. I don't know if that was the Holy Spirit or what to tell me to be quiet. But
Come back.
now I'm back on as Barbara in the workroom. So congratulations to our new slate of vestry members and also to our delegates to convention. That's wonderful. I think St. Michael and All Angels will be well represented. So now we go to recognition of our outgoing vestry members. And so do you want to say something about that, Jim and Louise, as our wardens?
Well, this group of folks has done a heck of a job, and they are all big shoes to fill. I think without exception, they joined on or near the end of Peter's tenure, and so have been involved with the Michael era and really keeping our feet above ground for these past 3 years that have just been more than we expected. So full gratitude and thanks from all of us to Beth and Jim and Mike.
And what you see is a picture of the message. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. It's a wonderful translation of the Bible. I would say a revision in the vernacular by a wonderful biblical scholar called Eugene Peterson, who just died recently. And I often use it in Bible study as another way to look at scripture, and it just opens it up in some ways, especially the passages that are seem very remote and difficult to unpack. So that will be mailed or to each person, or they can come by the office. And I said it'll be signed, not by Jesus, but by the wardens, thanking them for their contribution to the community here at St. Michael and All Angels. You can never say thank you enough for people's
Thank you.
service.
It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Okay, so you want to have any questions or discussions, Louise?
Yeah, is there anything that's on anyone's mind, either that came up during our meeting today that was on the agenda, or thoughts of things that that were not mentioned that you would like to bring to the table? Now is the time.
I will just say one thing is that I'm really looking forward to working with this community. As I get my sea legs and learn more about your story, I'm more and more impressed with the lay leadership that you have really come forward in some challenging times in a most beautiful way. And so it shows the tremendous potential as you live into your calling to be a faith community. And so I look forward to working with you as we get things teed up. And whoever you call is going to be very, very blessed to be here and work alongside you. So give yourselves a pat on the back, and also a thank you to your lay leadership, the wardens, the vestry, to Barbara, the staff. You've got a lot of very talented, capable people. And what a gift it is to be part of this community. So if there are no other comments or discussions, I believe Mother Barbara is going to end with prayer, and then we will dismiss the meeting. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you for your presence in our lives. In the good days and the bad days, in the days we seem to know what we're doing, and the days where we have no clue. Continue to support us. Give us open hearts, open minds, open hands, that we may be your people, that we may be those who choose to serve the world which you love. Give us strength and courage, love and patience. We ask this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
This is Susan back, because I'm going to dismiss the meeting. Just real quick, did we have a motion on the election of the slate in the delegates?
We did. It was combined with the
I just want to
vestry.
make sure we
Yes.
didn't overlook that. Okay. So is there, if there's no other business discussion or comments, is there a motion to dismiss the meeting?
I move we adjourn.
Any second?
Second.
So moved. So our annual meeting is ended until next year at the same time, and hopefully together.
Yes.
So God bless. Thank you.
God bless. Go Chiefs.
Two o'clock.
I like the Yankees myself.
Okay.
Thank you, Brooke, for moderating.
I say go